I'm Amy Goodman. As we turn to the Trump administration's intensifying attacks on cultural institutions and diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, including the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. In February, President Trump ousted the center's longtime chair, David Rubenstein, made himself chair of the board. Trump also fired longtime president Deborah Rutter. Last week, the Kennedy Center fired at least 7 members of its social impact initiative, including its vice president, artistic director, the renowned artist Marc Bamuthi Joseph. The team aimed to expand the art center's reach to diverse audiences, to commission new works by Black composers. The job terminations come weeks after President Trump took over the Kennedy Center and also appointed his allies, including his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, to the board, and her mother, and Second Lady Usha Vance, and 2 hosts on Fox News, Laura Ingraham and Maria Bartiromo. Marc Bamuthi Joseph recorded this video from his office just after he was fired.
Well, I am sitting in my office at the Kennedy Center one last time. It's funny, I'm taking things down like this red, black, and green American flag and this extraordinary piece of artwork that my man Greg made that honors Stevie Wonder, and this poster from BAM, and a commemorative album that was organized by Swiss Beats. Basically, I'm taking down everything Black in my office, just as the new leadership of the Kennedy Center is doing its best to disavow much of the literal color that has made this place special. I'm grieving and angry and also ready to be rid of the moral injury that has come with being in this place. It's hard to say goodbye, but it isn't hard to say goodbye to an oppressive situation. So may liberation be my liturgy. I'm proud of what we made here. We will always have an impact.
Marc Bamuthi Joseph, speaking after he was fired as vice president and artistic director of social impact at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, the last time he was in his office. And this is a portion from Marc Bamuthi Joseph's spoken word performance Friday, when he went back to Oakland for a timely production with the Oakland Symphony titled The Forgiveness Suite, accompanied by musician Daniel Bernard Remain.
Steps to grace. Face the hurt. Unthread the truth. Choose mercy. Engage your transgressor. Say, I leave this pain with you. Grace requires a loosening of other people's stuff for American socialized Black girls who considered shame reflexively when self-love wasn't enough. Grace is never enough when the forgiveness isn't deserved. But here you are, facing the truth, reconciling the pain by extending grace.
You've been listening to Marc Bamuthi Joseph. He joins us right now from Virginia. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Bamuthi. Talk about what happened last week. Talk about what's happening to the Kennedy Center.
Peace, Amy. Good morning to you, and good morning to everyone listening and watching. I feel so privileged to be the child of immigrants, and having lived in the state of California for a long time, moving to D.C. infused me with a different sense of patriotism and connection to the American promise, to the plurality that makes this country truly great. There has been, as you've distilled, an infusion of a kind of binary political discourse into what's supposed to be a sanctuary for freedom of thought and freedom of creative expression. The Kennedy Center, it should be said, has not officially canceled any performances or explicitly, contractually remove themselves from relationship to any artist. But as you've been describing so diligently and so bravely over the course of your entire career, we create atmosphere through rhetoric. The stated agenda, as institutionalized in spaces like the National Endowment for the Arts, let's say, severely restricts and almost criminalizes demographic realities outside of white, straight, male Christianity. The specific attack on gay, trans, and drag performers has narrowed the cultural radius at the Kennedy Center significantly, so that artists feel like they can't, in good conscience, come to the Kennedy Center. So you're seeing artists like Issa Rae or the producers of Hamilton or the artists Rhiannon Giddens remove themselves from their relationship to the Kennedy Center. And that in turn trickles down to the brave staff who are arts professionals who care about cultural provenance and have to do their very best to make it possible for artists to continue to be at their best. But against the backdrop of this oppressive regime and this politically narrow board of directors, that's extraordinarily difficult to do.
I mean, you have this unbelievable moment that we just played. Jon Batiste playing Star Spangled Banner. President Trump is saluting at the Super Bowl, and he had just fired him from the board of trustees of the Kennedy Center, along with many others. And then John F. Kennedy, you've got the portrait there in the John F. Kennedy Performing Arts Center. And when he came for his board meeting, President Trump as chair, what he put up new portraits, himself, his wife, Usha Vance, and Vice President Vance.
Yeah, you know, what you're seeing all over government are folks who aren't necessarily experienced in the lines or departments or vectors of action that they're supposed to lead. And there is no formal experience in either nonprofits, arts management, or the art of curation that is now present at the top of the organizational chart, beginning with the board chair. So, you know, the desire to satisfy, you know, one's ego, or the desire to be vengeful, apparently has superseded the desire to serve this nation in terms of making safe space for artists, particularly artists from historically marginalized communities or historically minoritized communities, to thrive. The work that we did in social impact, and I'm so proud of my team, my staff, and all of my colleagues who supported us, you know, that work was meant to focus on the historically marginalized, but also it connected to this idea of the constitutionality of inspiration. Our belief is that you cannot have access to the franchise, to the American franchise, if you don't have access to the impulse of creativity. That just like you have access to the ballot box or under equal protection under the law, under the 14th Amendment, you also have access and protection to inspiration. How can you be an American if you cannot hope? And who authors hope more than artists? So this diminishment of creativity, of ideas, the diminishment of folks' access to high-level inspired works of art is among the more un-American things I think that a leader would do.